They said it was just coffee. Just two friends catching up. But for those who have followed Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun through the years, it didn't feel simple at all. Because when you look closely at the details, the matching hats, the soft smiles, the unspoken ease between them, it looked less like coincidence, and more like comfort. And in the world of subtle gestures and hidden meanings, a coffee date can say 1,000 words. It started on a quiet Sunday morning in Seoul. A few photos appeared online. Nothing flashy. Nothing official. Just two familiar faces sitting side by a cafe window. Hands wrapped around warm cups. Their laughter blurred behind the glass. At first, fans thought it couldn't be real. After all, both had been keeping their personal lives private. They hadn't been seen together in public for months. But then, the angles matched. The street, the sign, even the reflection of a car passing by. It all lined up perfectly. And suddenly, the internet went quiet for a second, before exploding in disbelief. Is this their soft launch? That was the question everyone was asking. Because this wasn't a dramatic reveal. There were no grand gestures. No public statements. Just a simple moment. Soft enough to be missed, but meaningful enough to be remembered. Those who know Lee Min-ho's style know this. He's never been one for bold declarations when it comes to love. He expresses through actions, through small details that only the observant can see. And Kim Go-eun? She's always valued sincerity over spectacle. Her warmth isn't loud. It's felt. It lingers, quiet but real. So when these two shared that quiet table, it wasn't just coffee. It was connection. Some fans noticed something even more subtle. The scarf around Kim Go-eun's neck. The color looked oddly familiar. Because months ago, Lee Min-ho had worn the same shade in a casual photoshoot. Coincidence? Maybe. But their fans know better. They've seen this kind of matching energy before. The way their outfits sometimes echo each other's mood. As if they're silently mirroring emotions. As if, without words, they're telling the world that they understand each other. And then there was the way Lee Min-ho looked at her. Even from a distance. Even through the window's reflection. That gaze was unmistakable. It wasn't the look of a man posing for cameras. It was gentler, slower. The kind that holds a story. A story of familiarity. Of comfort. Of someone who doesn't need to try too hard. Because the connection is already there. People began tracing timelines again. When was the last time they interacted publicly? When did he start liking her posts again? When did her interviews start carrying that quiet glow? The one fans say she only has when she's genuinely happy? And one by one, the pieces began to fit. After the king, eternal monarch, many thought their story had ended on screen. But something about the way they spoke about each other afterward, always with respect, always with a hint of affection, kept the hope alive. Lee Min-ho once said in an interview, "Sometimes, you meet someone who makes time feel different." And Kim Go-eun, in another, smiled and said, "Some people feel like home, even when you're far apart." Different interviews. Different days. But somehow, the words felt like they belonged in the same sentence. So when they were seen together again, no film crew, no event, no cameras. Fans knew this wasn't just nostalgia. It was a chapter continuing quietly, without needing the world's permission. One fan commented, "Maybe they're not trying to hide anymore. Maybe they're just living." And that's what made the moment so powerful. It wasn't a public announcement. It was peace. They didn't need to tell anyone who they were to each other. They just showed it. In the simplest way possible. Some said it was friendship. Others called it fate. But whichever it was, there was a softness in the air. The kind that can't be staged. Even the barista, who served them that day, shared anonymously that they seemed comfortable and quiet. No fuss, no disguises. Just two people enjoying coffee and conversation. But fans couldn't help noticing something else. The way their hands brushed while reaching for the sugar. The way she leaned in when he spoke. The small laughter that escaped between words. It all felt familiar. Like two people who've shared 1,000 small moments before. And this was just another one added to their story. One moment stood out to many. As they left the cafe, Lee Min-ho held the door for her. Nothing unusual, just manners. But the way she looked back, smiled softly, and nodded. It was the kind of gesture that carried unspoken meaning. It wasn't a performance. It was something else. Something real. That's why fans began calling it their soft launch. Not because they made anything official, but because it felt like the beginning of being seen. Together, naturally. Without fear. Without secrecy. In a world where celebrities often have to hide every detail, this quiet confidence felt refreshing. Lee Min-ho, once known for his guarded privacy, looked at ease. Kim Go-eun, often described as grounded and genuine, looked happy. And maybe that's all fans ever wanted to see. Two people who once shared the screen, now sharing something more real off it. A few days after the photos went viral, both actors remained silent. No statement, no denial, just silence. And somehow, that silence spoke volumes. Because sometimes, silence isn't avoidance. It's protection. Protection of something fragile, something precious, something still growing quietly beneath the noise. Fans began sharing their favorite moments from the king, eternal monarch again. The bicycle scene, the tea moments, the laughter between takes. Each clip felt different now, viewed through the lens of this coffee date. Suddenly, what once felt scripted, now felt like memory. One fan wrote, "They always said their chemistry was too real to be acting. Maybe it wasn't acting after all." Another said, "This is the kind of love that doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to exist." And perhaps that's what makes their story so compelling. Its quiet authenticity. Lee Min-ho once shared a quote on social media. "Some moments are better lived than explained." No one thought much of it at the time. But after this, it felt like a message. Kim Go-eun, too, posted a photo days later. A cup of coffee by a window. With the caption, "Warm mornings." No tags. No explanation. Just warmth. Was it coincidence? Or was it another subtle way of saying, "We're fine. We're happy"? Whatever it was, the fans believed it. Because sometimes, you don't need confirmation to recognize love. You just feel it. As days passed, the frenzy softened. The headlines faded. But the memory of that coffee date lingered. Because for those who followed their journey, from co-stars to close friends, and perhaps beyond, this was more than just an outing. It was reassurance. That even amidst fame, even amidst distance, there can still be quiet, genuine connection. Some say love in the entertainment world rarely lasts. But there's